This is the story of a man named Stanley.
История человека.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was
Мы смотрим
employee
с
number
субтитрами, потому что
427.
мне дико не
Employee
устраивает
number
этот перевод.
427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he
Переводчиком
pushed
удобно.
buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 42777.
Чуть-чуть. Так, что?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Единственное правильное решение тут нет. Даже если я забьюсь в угол и буду сидеть, это правильное решение будет. Так. Причем обещанная необычность,
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his
нашел дверь
left.
слева. Что вообще ни хрена не слышу. Если вам слышно хорошо, то подсказывайте мне, что он
Yet
говорит.
there was not a single person here either.
Я только
Feeling a
читаю.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Искатель, ты просто запоздал
Coming to a
чуток.
staircase, Stanley
Необычность была в том, что
walked
была
upstairs to his
подборка
boss's
концерта,
office.
то есть исполнителей любимых была. Вот в этом была необычность, то, что была музыкальная пауза. То есть, как бы... Так, комната. Комната в комнате.
Stepping into his
комнате
manager's office,
библиотека.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human
То есть
life.
кого-то живого.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark
Что-то от него
secret was being
скрыли.
held
Странно,
from
что-то
him?
скрыли.
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin
Можешь не
number.
делать то, что тебе говорят. Хорошо. Я, если я не делаю, что мне
Stanley
говорят,
couldn't
мне же
possibly
все равно
have
что-то
known
нужно
this.
делать.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Two, 8, 4, 5. Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
В лифт, зашли в лифт. Сейчас нас куда-то завезут. Непонятно куда.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
Забыла
It was a
скинуть,
stirring of
забегался в
emotion in
рутине
his
своей.
chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him?
Короче, он
This
задумался о
question
бытие.
would not go unanswered for long.
Бытие. Ой, что так темно. Что за трэш вообще
Stanley
происходит?
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind
Станция
Control
управления
Facility.
сознанием. Нифига себе, Mind Control Facility. Да. Все пути открыты. Но тут ничего нельзя взять, пощупать. Дверь закрылась, да? Автоматически. Так. Замуровали гады. Куда идти? Так, тут что-то нужно теперь, какой-то код, наверное, как в той комнате, ввести код. Диворс. Куда можно сгонять? У меня пока 2 хода. Вот какие-то ворота. Кнопка или что-то. О. Кнопку нажать, так, как ее нажать?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television
Множеством
screens.
экранов.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Ой, хватит ли мужества? Посмотрим. Куда-то я забрела все приключений на задницу. Ну, то есть назад возвращаться нельзя здесь.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Загорелись мониторы,
Each bore the
раскрылся,
number
да?
of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom
Ух
meant
ты, сколько
nothing.
комнат. Нифига себе. Ты аппаратная. Это просто... Опять? Опять кнопочка?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Правда.
Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Просто офисный планктон сошел с ума.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable.
Never.
Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly
Да
blind to
его
the world?
держали в бункере. Что-то не рассказывали какую-то правду, Стэнли. То есть, куда бы ни пошел, все равно что-то будет открыто. Карта вся открыта, правильно, Диворс? Пофигу, куда идешь, с пятачком, не секрет.
But here was the proof. The heart of the
Сердце
operation.
станции кнопки
Controls
подписано, счастлив
labeled
или
with
несчастлив,
emotions.
или доволен.
Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Так. Мандарин, привет. Мы делаем что угодно, идем куда хотим. Ух ты, что это? Что это? Это к прошлой теме о наркотиках, по-моему. 3. Ага, там что-то. Это необычный стрим. Да, ты все пропустил. Были нарезочка была, были концерты. А эти кнопочки, они не кликабельны. А, не кликабельны, что? Ну что они делают, я как всегда не понимаю. Куда-то нужно забраться. На лесенку. Блин, что так темно, я вообще нифига не вижу. Повторить концерт. Так. Куда-то я не туда забрела. Я вообще ни черта не вижу. Просто... Что с яркостью игры? Power Facility. Двое. Что? Poison. Да. В какую комнату? Сначала зайди в комнату. Нет, не караоке было. Так, я вообще не могу. Мне одни кнопки мне видны, и все, я больше ничего не вижу. Power Facility. Ага, зайти в ту комнату. И что там? Mind controls. Waiting. Unport.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Stanley.
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Nanomachine.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's
Что ты
your
меня
time to
высаживаешь,
shine.
чувак?
You are the star. It's
Ну-ка,
your
если свет
story now.
включился хоть.
Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it.
Что?
Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you,
Он
about
хочет...
me,
он
where
хочет
we're
меня
going.
мне
What all this
замануху
means, I
устроил.
barely know
Взорвать
where
меня.
to start. What's that?
Бежим.
You'd like to know
Только
where your
куда?
co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated.
Я хочу
All right,
знать,
I'm
где
in a good
мои
mood.
друзья.
You're gonna die anyway.
Почему
I'll
так
tell you
просто?
exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying
Похоже на
alone.
портал, как это,
Other
Гладус.
times,
Ты
I let the
врешь,
office
ты
sink into
врешь.
the ground,
Сейчас
swallowing
тебя
everyone
задавят.
inside,
Ты
or I let
лузер.
it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and
Ты
take back the
сволочь.
control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm
Сейчас
sure
будут
whatever I
нажимать на
come up
кнопку.
with on the next go-around will be even better. My
Егор,
goodness,
спасай, ты
only
пришел.
34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door.
Ну да, я ж не знаю,
Everything,
как
anything,
кнопку
something
нажать.
here
Что
will
таймер
save
меня
me.
просто...
Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved?
Нужно
Do
нажимать
you
на
have
кнопки в
any
определенном
idea
порядке.
what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away
Зачем?
to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say,
Что,
happily
умрет?
ever after.
Взорвется? Наверху я видела, я не успела к ней.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
То есть,
decided to
если
go to
сейчас
the
пойду
meeting
другой
room.
дорогой,
Perhaps he
я
had
не
simply
попаду
missed a
туда,
memo.
правильно?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he
тут
wanted to
один
stop
путь.
by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
К разным концовкам.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Вот здесь я не была.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Упоротый.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this
Жили долго
time.
и счастливо.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
Катались
Someone
на...
you've forgotten about. Please,
Месте.
stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it,
Ну,
Stanley.
приехали.
Your
Что
chance
здесь?
to redeem yourself. To
Тут
put
вообще
your
есть
work
концовка?
aside.
Ну, как
To
бы.
let her back into your life.
Что мне страшно
She's
заходить в эту
been
дверь.
waiting.
А,
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
алло. Что это за звонок был, который меня перенес
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting.
во
I'm just pulling the
времени?
bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go.
Что в
All
пекарню
right, now,
попали?
I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Что происходит? Ты убил мою жену? О,
This is a very sad story
Симулятор
about the
жены.
death of a man named Stanley.
добрый утро, работник. Нажми на N на клавиатуре. Ой, что-то мне страшно.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Я уже заметила, что мне всю игру троллить будет. Нажми на
Look at him
кнопочки,
there,
нажми на
pushing
буквы.
buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now
Это
he's coming
дурдом на
back to
выезде
work.
просто.
One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Сам выбрал такую жизнь.
But in his mind, in his mind he
Привет,
can go on
привет.
fantastic
Enjoy.
adventures. From behind his
Привет.
desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown,
Так,
fantastic
чё?
discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each
Дайте
day
мне
that he
уйти.
returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further.
Фишки.
He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors
Да
and
это вообще
mind
просто.
controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Притча Стэнли. Ну хорошо, рассказ детям.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his
Я
head
пытаюсь
he
понять.
relived it again,
Мне так
and then
вообще-
again, and again,
Сейчас.
over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
А, как я тебя люблю.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do
Смешно,
it.
когда экран скажет тебе нажать кнопку, не делай это. Что делать? Пожалуйста, нажмите 8, чтобы прийти утром на работу. А мне сказали до этого, что мне не надо делать то, что...
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I
Мне хоть ноут не выключится сейчас. Пожалуйста, умрите. Блин. И чё, сначала все? Опять одинокая такая игра, как и предыдущая. Никого нет, одна я. Эти шкафы и двери.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Две
he entered
концовки.
the door on his left.
Хорошо. Слева.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Никого.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Нет, я не играла в бесконечно лет. Мне кажется, это что-то бесконечное. Так,
Coming
подняться
to a
в кабинет.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Начальника нет. Мы уже были в этом кабинете. О, нет, сейчас захлопнется дверь. Что же делать?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Так. 28, 40.
Stanley just sat around, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Это уже было в начале. Так, опять мы идем.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Опять. Хорошо. Идем. Будем нажимать кнопочки. Я не знаю, когда она считается законченной, когда вообще что. Я просто мастер.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
Тебе ссылку
Stanley thought to
сбросить?
himself.
Начать, что
Did he
ты
have the
сбросил?
strength
Ну, брось,
to find
коль не
out?
шутишь. Сбрось. Ну, наверное, ВКонтакте лучше. А то здесь у меня такое внимание рассеянное. У меня тут суперсложная игра.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature
загорелись
revealed. Each
мониторы.
bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many
Проходить будешь
individuals
вечно?
reduced to
Ага,
images on a
Михаил, ты
screen.
проходил ее,
And
да? Ты
Stanley,
знаешь точно
one of
или
them,
какое предположение?
eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Yes нажми. А когда я что нажимала? No? Я, по-моему, нажимала off и on. Может, off нажать? Нажму off.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his
Ну
emotions had
давай
been
хотя бы где-то,
manipulated
да,
to accept
чтобы
it
я где-то
blindly?
видела, если ты нет тебя ВКонтакте.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it.
Пеший
His
явился.
own life in
Привет.
someone else's control? Never.
Ты нажимала
It was
on, да, и
unthinkable.
нажимала on. В
Wasn't
этот
it?
раз я нажму
Was
off.
it even possible? Had he truly spent his
думаешь, что
entire
произойдет,
life
потому что-
utterly blind to the world?
Это просто какая-то загадочная история Бенджамина Баттона.
But
Опять
here was the
потемки.
proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking,
Нифига не
eating,
вижу. Вижу
working.
комнату.
All of it
Сейчас я
monitored
там
and
что-то
commanded
нажму.
from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again
Stanley,
exert its
Bruce
terrible
Lee.
power over another human life. For he would dismantle the
Брандон
controls
Ли.
once and for all.
Теперь можешь ее выключить. Ну, off, хорошо. Рабочая крестьянская.
Blackness and a rising
Крестьянка
chill of
из
uncertainty.
соседнего села.
Was it over?
Получилось? Что получилось?
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments
Мой мозг,
away.
что происходит? Что
And
он
yet-
победил?
Even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the
Хорошо,
chamber,
идем,
he
куда
realized
идем,
none of this
непонятно.
mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand,
Никуда
to
не
let go.
идется.
No longer would anyone tell him where
Ага,
to go,
открывается
what to
окошечко.
do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know.
Я уже поняла, что
It
здесь я
was
просто
perhaps
гоню.
the only thing worth
Просто-
knowing. Stanley stepped through the open
Стэнли
door.
вышел в открытую дверь. Спасибо, лоб упевший тебе за...
Stanley felt the cool breeze
Стэнли
upon his
почувствовал легкий
skin,
ветер на коже,
feeling
чувство
of
свободы,
liberation,
невероятный потенциал
the
нового
immense
пути,
possibility
который
of the
перед
new
ним стоял.
path before him. This was exactly the way,
Вот прямо сейчас
right
все
now,
должно было
the things
произойти.
were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
И Стэнли был счастлив. Все? Ну все, это все. Диворс. Ты говоришь, что это все гонило, так снова началась игра, да?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Вот опять, это все
Stanley decided to go
идет
to the
циклично.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
С третьего раза хэппи-энд. Все, да, все пройдено. Дурдомище просто, ну. И такие игры нужно знать. Нужно знать и такие игры, я не знаю. Что-то есть еще здесь? Может быть, еще третья концовка какая-то? Появятся коллеги и тут устроят дискотеку. Или вряд ли. От каждого выбора зависит концовка.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Хорошо, зайдем
This
вправо.
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
Их
just to
18?
admire it.
Дурдом.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a
16
gorgeous,
концовок,
gorgeous
ё-моё.
room. Thank goodness
Ребята, вы
Stanley had
прошли или
taken
вы
this
гоните,
detour.
как в этой
But
игре?
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Что за концовки могут быть? Умер.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
Жив.
incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Состояние жидкое, газообразное. А, это здесь я уже была. Словский. Нет, я не на колесах. И не под колесами. Ну, по-моему, сегодня мне просто сорвало крышу эти
Look, Stanley, I
прохождения,
think perhaps
которые...
we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not
Смысла
your
не
enemy,
имеет.
really, I'm not. I
Тебе не
realize
враг,
that
серьезно,
investing
не
your
враг.
trust in someone
Доверять
else can be
кому-то
difficult, but the
не
fact is that the
забывай, что
story
это
has
всё
been
время
about nothing
было про
but you
тебя.
all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting,
Не
Stanley.
уделишь кому-то внимания,
Someone
Стэнли,
you've
о ком-то
forgotten
позабыл,
about.
пожалуйста, перестань делать
Please,
каждый свой
stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
А поупевшие, да, у меня там сейчас проблемка небольшая с этим. Все концовки на стриме. Я не знаю,
This is it,
какие
Stanley.
концовки.
Your chance to redeem
Я,
yourself,
по-моему, иду той
to
же.
put your work aside,
Хотя, может быть,
to let
где-то здесь
her
будет
back into
поворот не
your
туда.
life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You
Чтоб
need
пять
to be the
прошел,
one to
забил.
do this, to reach out to her.
Так, ну
If you-
это я уже все делала, я не знаю, что сейчас.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on,
О,
sweetie. Sorry to
нет,
keep you
только
waiting.
не
I'm
это
just pouring the bread out of the oven.
киборг-жена.
All right.
Нет.
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about...
Снизу глаза так бегают, я тебе подумал.
Gotcha. Oh,
Ха-ха,
come on.
попался.
Did you actually think you had a
Негодяй.
loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm
Попробовать
trying to
не
make a
обратить?
point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
Что я не
Come inside.
удержалась.
Let me show you what's really going on here.
Так. Диворс, а вот расскажи мне,
This
я
is a
сейчас
very
прохожу,
sad
да,
story about the death of a man
там
named
какие
Stanley.
были еще? Я, по-моему, 3 концовки я сделала уже, или 2. Что там было? Там что-то
Stanley is
интересненькое,
quite a
если
boring
интересненькое,
fellow.
что-то
He has
придем.
a
Ну,
job that
я уже не
demands
думаю,
nothing
что
of
здесь
him.
что-то будет
And every
интересное.
button that he pushes is a reminder of the
Выдернуть
inconsequential
кабель
nature
телефона
of his
можно?
existence.
Да ладно, где ты был раньше? Или ты троллишь меня так же, как эта игра?
Look at
Давай,
him there,
X.
pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to
Что
do.
еще нажмите на
Now he's
кнопки?
pushing
Ну
a
это мы
button.
уже делали,
Now
зачем
he's
нажимать
eating
снова на
lunch.
кнопки?
Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures.
После вот этого,
From behind his
Диворс,
desk,
после вот этого
Stanley
вот
dreamed of
чувачка
wild
сейчас,
expeditions into
ну,
the
чувихи
unknown.
этой, можно изменить
Fantastic
ход событий
discoveries
сейчас?
of
Можно
new
же
lands.
пойти другим
It was
путем, или
wonderful.
снова то же
And
самое
each
будет?
day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Да, выдави стекло.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk
Бесконечное
to realize that
воображение.
all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited
Контроль
him
сознания
terribly.
там туда нужно, да, и там... А после вот этого уже зажмите К.
So
Не
he went
будет ничего, да?
further.
Тоже
He
нажимать,
imagined that he
кнопки
came
или
to
вообще
two
ничего не
open
нажимать.
doors
А
and that he
хорошо,
could
если я
go through
ничего не буду
either.
нажимать.
At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Что, нажимаем на другие кнопки. Нет, оно не активирует ничего.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations.
Как по
Down
мне, так
one
лучше
path
бы
lay
на
an enormous
концертик
round
побольше
room
сделали.
with monitors and mind
Что-то как-то-
controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
Или уже первая
And
игра
down
про
another was a game with a
пейзажи,
baby. And he
про
called
томный
it the
голосок
Stanley
морячка.
Parable.
Нажмите L.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would
Нужно
never
опуститься
end,
вниз.
that he
О,
might
точно,
always feel
точняк
this
ты.
free.
Точно.
Surely there's an answer down some new path.
совершенно
Must
прав.
there be?
Нужно
Perhaps if he
спуститься
played
вниз
just
там.
one more time.
Просто какая разносторонняя игра, просто я не знаю. Так.
But there
вот.
is no answer. How could there
Решение
possibly
было.
be?
Откуда ему быть?
In reality, all he's doing is
Действительно,
pushing
откуда
the
ему
same
быть?
buttons he always has. Nothing has changed.
Отпусти
The
меня
longer he
отсюда,
spends
трава.
here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can
Словки,
never
со мной
be
всё в
anything
порядке.
but an observer. That as long as he
Просто,
remains
наверное,
here, he's
я
slowly
кружусь на
killing
стуле
himself.
от
But
счастья.
he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this.
Ничего не
Stanley,
зудит.
the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not
Не
do it.
делай этого. Тише. Да, в такой газетке, да, шапочке.
You
Делаю
see?
ремонт.
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at
Ну всё,
himself?
опять. Все по кругу.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must.
Да уж не
Perhaps-
пойду я
well,
сюда,
maybe
наверное.
this time
Если
we'll
я
see.
запомнила,
Maybe
куда я
this
ходила.
time.
Это такие идентичные
And I tried
коридоры.
again, and Stanley pushed a button.
Пожалуйста,
And I tried
умрите.
again, and Stanley
Так
pushed a
вежливо
button.
просят,
And I tried.
чтобы ты скончался. Одесса, город
All
моряков.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to
Так
go to the
случилось
meeting
так.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
What's going on, Stanley? Пожалуйста. Так, а ну. Я захожу.
When Stanley came to a set of two
Влево,
open
правильно,
doors,
чтобы,
he entered the door on his left.
Город-герой. Полупевший, поздравляю тебя, что ты помирился. Впредь следи за своими высказываниями. Так, тут комната начальника,
Yet
поднимаемся
there was not a
наверх.
single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he
Ой, то
might,
есть
for
опускаемся
coming to a
вниз.
staircase, Stanley walked
Опускаемся
upstairs to
вниз.
his boss's office.
Сейчас там какой-то будет
But
тролль
Stanley
стоять.
just couldn't do it. He considered the
Просить
possibility of
нажать ему.
facing his boss, admitting
На
he had left his
подушечке
post during
пальца.
work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His
Начальник.
boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of
Действительно
it made
тронулся,
any
хожу по
logical
кругу.
sense. And as Stanley
Побродить.
pondered this, he began to make other strange
Хорошо,
observations.
побродить
For
придется.
example,
Аж где
why couldn't he
бродить?
see
Что
his
круг
feet?
брожения
Dark.
ограничен.
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Ну,
And for that
конечно, на
matter,
правду
these
обижаются,
rooms were
что
starting to look pretty
что ж
familiar.
ты такая?
Were they simply repeating?
Может быть, тебе
No,
показалось,
Stanley said
может
to
быть, все в
himself,
порядке.
this is
у неё.
all too strange. This can't be real. And
Так,
at
слушай,
last, he
Диворс,
came to
что
the
ты говоришь
conclusion
тут
that had been on the
поблудить?
tip of
Что-то
his
нажать
tongue.
нужно?
He just hadn't found the words for it.
Может быть.
I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh,
Бухнуть
what a
что-то.
relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He
Я
wasn't
не
crazy
понимаю,
after
что здесь
all.
делать
And he
нужно.
thought to himself, I
Откровенно
suppose I'll
не
wake up
понимаю.
soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job
Что,
pushing buttons.
пожалуйста,
I may
задавитесь
as well
этим
enjoy
шлангом.
this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the
Если что,
ground.
нужно будет развернуться.
Then he
Что?
imagined himself soaring through space on a magical
Что происходит?
starfield. And it too appeared. It was so much
Космосе,
fun.
нифига
And
себе.
Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
Слышишь, куда
Why
развернуться?
is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams,
Минутка
the
такая
truth was that,
познания.
of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take
Пока
responsibility
ходи,
for
потом нужно
himself?
будет развернуться.
Stanley
Просто
is as
ходить,
awake right now
просто
as he's
ходить по
ever been in his
комнатам.
life.
А
Now,
потом
hearing
в
the
нужный
voice speak
момент
these
меня
words was quite a
подтащит.
shock to Stanley. After all,
Космос
he
какой-то
knew for
начнется.
certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too, surely, surely, if he could just... He would prove it.
Воу-воу.
He would prove that he was in
Что-то
control,
завис.
that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
А,
He
он,
felt
получается,
the
устал,
cool weight of the
нагонялся.
blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back.
Безусловно,
fresh
вес
air of the
одеяла и
world
кожа
outside
засвеживала
this
за
one.
пределами этого места. Хочу
Let me
проснуться,
wake
подумал
up,
он.
he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back
Дайте
to
мне
my
продолжить
job.
нажимать кнопки,
Let me
пожалуйста, мне
continue
только это и
pushing the
надо.
buttons.
У меня
Please.
зависимость
It's
нажимать
all I
кнопки.
I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job.
Хочу, чтобы моя жизнь была такой,
All I
как
want is my
она
life
всегда была.
exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal.
Моя жизнь
I
нормальная.
am normal.
Я нормальная.
Everything
Все
will
будет в
be
порядке.
fine. I am okay.
Я в порядке. Доброе утро.
Stanley began screaming.
Please,
someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice?
За красный свет. Затонул.
And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named
Девочка,
Mariella.
про девочку, которая шила игрушки, такая игра
Mariella
есть.
woke up on a day like any
Не
other.
знаю,
She
есть ли
rose,
такая
got
игра,
dressed,
но
gathered
мне
her
кажется,
belongings,
должны
and
сделать.
walked to her place of work.
О, проснулся
But on this particular day, her walk was
Что?
interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town
Думаю,
talking and
пол-
screaming to himself,
на
and then
тротуар.
collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon
Охренеть.
turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man.
Чё ты его так
He was obviously crazy.
расчепушилил
This much
на
she knew.
асфальте?
Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal.
Как хорошо,
I
что
am
я
sane.
нормальная и не
I
валяюсь
am
на
in
асфальте.
control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made
Убила бедного Стэнли.
Feeling better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that
Ну,
day.
женщина
The very
стоит чужая,
important people whose
скорбит над
impressions of
мужиком
her would affect her
чужим.
career and by extension
творится в
the
мире?
rest of her life. She had no
Другая
time for this,
концовка. Вот,
so it
Егор,
was
какая
only a
уже по
moment
счету?
that she
Может быть,
stood there,
что-то я
staring
сбилась.
down at the
Третья
body,
или четвертая это?
and then she turned and ran.
Четвертая.
All of his co-workers were
Все его
gone.
коллеги
What could
исчезли.
it
Как же так
mean?
случилось?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
Просто
memo.
всех уволили. Они попали все под сокращение. Остался один я.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Дайте третью дверь, пожалуйста. Так, что там было?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room,
Право.
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge
Шнур из
first, just to
телефона.
admire it. The lounge was
Сейчас
sublime,
поглядим.
a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
Всех
left.
мальчик. Так,
And so he detoured through the maintenance
Во,
section,
здесь я, кажется,
walked
не
straight
была.
ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
опачки. Да, просто игра просто захватывающая.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to
Не
the
хотел
office.
возвращаться
He
в
wanted to
офис,
wander
чтобы
about and get even further off
дальше
track.
вправо.
So now, in order to get back, he needed to go
Отсюда ему идти налево.
From here, it's left.
Налево.
Oh no, it's to the right. My
Что
mistake.
такое?
No, not the right.
Смешно.
Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
Действительно,
What
болвашка.
was I thinking? It's clearly. Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Так, посмотрим. Сейчас он в записи посмотрит.
Let's see. We went down, right, down, left, right. Yep. Okay. Yes, I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Просто Петросян какой-то издевается. Ой, сейчас вообще задавит. Вау. О, опять эти номерки.
No.
Опять
This isn't right
аппаратная.
at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just to oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely
Совершенно
unusable.
бессмысленно. Да,
How about,
действительно.
rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time,
Диворс, как
suppose we
ты
don't
вообще
wander so far off track.
выдумал эту игру?
Okay,
И
from
как
the
ты
top.
вздумал ее проходить? Мне интересно. Наверное, таким же путем, как и я. Это что, концовка была?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
В матрице,
Stanley decided to go to the
Муля,
meeting
ты
room.
там жив
Perhaps he
еще?
had simply missed a memo.
Умрите, пожалуйста. Тут столько было предложений умереть. Муля, кастрюля.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No,
Стоп.
I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
Это была
Did
пятая
you
концовка?
move the story somewhere, or...
О, боже.
Why am I asking
Я
you?
сейчас
I'm the one who
мозг
wrote the
через уши
story.
вылетит.
It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure.
О,
Come, Stanley.
нифига себе,
Let's
мне столько
find
тут
the
путей
story.
с ульчиками закрыли. Я просто теряюсь в выборе. Мгм. Это еще не конец, это самая длинная концовка. Игра называется Stanley Parable.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
В чем дело? Что? Куда это? О боже мой, это что, еще одна была концовка?
All of his
Все, мне кажется,
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
просто уже
Stanley decided
запредельная.
to go to the meeting
По-моему,
room.
игра
Perhaps he had
началась.
simply missed a memo.
Просто сейчас выхожу из двери. О, концовка. Ребята,
Okay, yeah,
помогите.
it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is
Нужна
back where we
портальная
just
пушка.
came from. Why don't we go back the other
Чтобы
direction and see if we missed
Открыть
anything?
портал и закончить нормально эту игру. Что тут вообще делать? Тут вообще просто дуреть. Отдыхать после рабочего дня. Ну.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The
Оригинал
story.
круто
Here
сделан.
it comes.
С озвучкой ты в дубляже имеешь в виду? Я не хочу тут перевод дебильный.
No, wait, never mind.
Come
Not the story.
Ладно,
Okay,
снова
let's head back the
поворачиваем и
other
идем
way
обратно.
and
Да иди
retrace
ты
our
в баню,
steps.
блин. Еле дополз, а тебе говорят, надо ползти обратно. О,
Now this,
чё
well, I'll be
ты?
honest, I don't
Улов
recognize this place at
начался.
all. Is this the story? I don't think
Это
so.
история.
I can't quite recall, but I believe my
Мне кажется, я
story took
сейчас
place
вот
in
так
an
играю,
office building.
резко начался Ведьмак.
Is that correct?
И три хорошие,
remember,
и три
Stanley?
концовки. Хорошая,
Well, do you know
не
what?
очень,
Since I've completely
замечательная.
forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
Фига себе.
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job. Oh no, no, I don't feel
Спасибо
right
за
about this at
мандаринки,
all.
муля.
We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win
Мандаринки
fair and
очень
square,
хорошо.
and this
Я бы
was
сейчас
not one of
скушала
those
мандаринки, потому
situations.
что
Okay?
я недавно
I'm
ела
getting weirded
винегрет.
out by whatever this place is.
Мне
I
как-то
don't care what might
хочется
happen this
что-то
time.
сладенького.
I have to restart.
You win!
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the
Фонарики
help
как уж-
of the Stanley
как
Parable
уже.
Adventure Line. Just
Как
follow the
ули.
line. How simple is that?
О, идем по красной... Ой, фу, дальтонизм. По желтой полосочке.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in
Идем,
this direction.
идем просто
Onward, Stanley,
по
to destiny.
начерченному пути,
Nope. Here's a
по
thought.
накатанной.
Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or
Мне
to put it
напоминает
another
это
way,
как
is the
в
story
школе
of
на
no
физкультуре.
destination
Чертили
still a
такую желтую
story?
штуку.
Simply
Кросс
by the act
бежишь.
of moving forward,
Краской
are we
на
implying a
асфальте.
journey
О,
such that a
я что,
destination is
паркурщик?
inevitably
Мне надо
conjured into
перебежать?
being via the very manifestation of the nature of life
Что-то
itself?
такое.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Все
whoa.
понятно.
Hang on.
Разводняк.
Got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what?
Что-то пора
I
делать
think
прямо
what
на
we need
концовке,
right now
которая
is a bit of
открывается
music to
глаза,
lighten the
уверенность
mood.
окружающего мира. Воодушевляющая такая музычка. О, вот и дискотека, о которой я говорила. Идем сюда завтра.
Cut the music. Go back
Кстати,
and look
музыку,
at
вернее,
that
назад,
fern.
кстати, на папоротник.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely
мы
and
запомним, что
remember
это
it carefully.
папоротник, не
You won't want to
маморотник.
miss anything.
Шарилась по зданию без единой души. Да. Так. Папоротник запомнили. Тук-тук, откройте. Мне не открыли дверь, потому что я не шла по линии. Я уже просто могу ожидать от нее все что угодно. Может быть, нужно было полить папоротник? Что такое? Иди по линии, да. По потолку. Ямакаси. Идем по линии, хорошо. Идем по линии. Откройте дверь. Open the door, please. Так. Это опять прокачало меня. Вернитесь назад. Устаньте, набегайтесь, как белка в колесе.
We're back at the office?
Да, мы снова вернулись, представляешь?
Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Что?
Oh, no, not again.
Так
Line,
тут же
how could you have
специально
done this to
нужно
us? And
вернуться.
after we trusted you, after
Это
everything
специфика
we've been
игры.
through,
Заходишь в
you...
дверь,
No, I
возвращаешься
can't take this anymore. To
опять
hell with it.
назад.
Restart.
Это концовочка? Какая, ребята, по счету это концовочка? 6-я?
You know what, Stanley? I say
Опа.
forget the adventure
Как
line. What's it
неожиданно.
ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Это просто трешарио какой-то. Откройте дверь. Простите.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no,
Опачки,
not you
кто-то
again.
здесь психовал.
Stanley, I'd also like to
Кому-то
veto the line
надоело
from having
просто
any
ходить
role in
по
our
этим
awesome
линиям.
new story. No lines or
Просто
monitor rooms. Just
психика
don't
не
acknowledge it.
выдержала.
We should be fine.
Такое впечатление, что кто-то на стену наделал. Код какой-то. О, здравствуйте.
A choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Опа. А теперь...
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will
Значит,
taking the
нужно
right
задать
door
вопрос,
lead
приведет ли
us to
нас
where we're
правая
going?
дверь туда, куда
And
мы
since the
собирались
answer
прийти.
is clearly yes,
И
then by
раз
all
очевидным
accounts,
ответом
the
или
door
туда,
on the
значит,
right
по
is
всей
the
логике
correct one.
правая
Another
дверь
victory for
является
logic.
правильной. Еще
Come,
одна победа
Stanley,
насчет логики.
our
Идем, Stanley, нас
destiny
ждет судьба.
awaits.
Феноменально, логика просто, и не знаю. Что бы я делала без этой игры?
Hold up, what's this?
Это еще что?
The
Сумбурная
confusion
концовка.
ending. You're
What the
telling
fuck?
me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're
Сколько?
supposed to
8,
restart again
8,
what, eight times?
No.
That's really how all this goes? It's all
Все
determined?
предопределено.
So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to
Сейчас я не
forget?
хочу забыть. У
Well,
меня
what if
всё
I
в
don't
голове
want to
стрёмно
forget?
просто потому, что там
My
написано
mind
на
goes
этой
blank
штуке.
simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get
Ну,
to
кстати,
decide?
такое предложение
Why
было в
don't
первой
I
игре,
get a
когда я
say in all
просто
of this?
шла, у меня
Is it
был
really-
симулятор ходьбы, я могла
No,
одной
it
рукой
can't
шить,
be.
другой
I
просто
don't want
идти.
it to be.
И вот так.
I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't
Это
want to be
просто
trapped like this.
трындец.
I
Ну,
won't restart the game. I
такие игры
won't
тоже
do it.
должны
I won't do
существовать
it.
для
I
сравнения,
won't do it.
чтобы мы ценили, наверное.
And the timer
Ведьмаков
stopped.
всяких.
Does
Ой,
that mean,
так, я все
did we
прослушала.
do it? Did we
У нас
break the cycle?
получилось, таймер остановился, мы
whatever
сломали
it is that
цикл,
made this schedule.
сделано
How would we
по
even
расписанию.
know? Will
За
someone
нами
come for
придет,
us?
что-то
Will
произойдет.
something happen?
Ё-моё, кипиш, паника, что
So,
случилось?
Okay.
Фух,
I guess now we just wait. You know,
концовка этой
I suppose
концовки,
in
то, что
some
ты
way
начнешь
that
снова.
this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite
пока
sure
я
if we're in
не
the
вынесу этого,
destination
пока.
or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually.
Ну, узнаем верно,
Well, in the
когда-нибудь.
meantime,
Пока, если- Нет. Это была все-таки концовка. Какая, 7-я была? Как Цезарь. Угу.
all of his co-workers
Его
were
коллеги
gone.
исчезли,
What
кажется,
could it mean?
случилось.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Ребята, если вам
Perhaps he had
надоело,
simply
вы
missed
можете
the
не
memo.
смотреть. Паула Попевший уже откололся, он не смог. Что это было? Фиг знает, что это было. Это просто
When Stanley came to a
масло
set of two
масляное
open
и маслом
doors, he
помазанное.
entered the
Теперь
door on
куда
his
заходить?
left.
Хорошо.
This was not the correct
Всегда
way to the
выбираем
meeting room,
право.
and Stanley knew it perfectly
Что бы ни
well.
было, идем
Perhaps he
направо.
wanted to stop by the
Не
employee
волнует,
lounge
что слева
first,
золотые
just to
горы, но мы
admire
идем
it.
направо.
Standing now in this incredible room,
Там, где
Stanley for the
враги и
first but
злодеи.
eager to get back to
Но мы
business,
идем направо,
Stanley
мы
took the
идем
first open
правильно.
door on his left.
Право от слова правильно.
Stanley was so
Опачки.
bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Не в этом месте был телефон, по-моему, в этом.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your
Пятая
enemy,
вроде.
really. I'm
Нет,
I
это не
realize that
пятая, это
investing your
где-то
trust in
7-я.
someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has
О,
been
нас
about
вверх ещё
nothing
не
but you
поднимала.
all this time.
Или это чё?
There's
А,
someone you've
поднимала.
been neglecting, Stanley.
Если что еще не было,
Someone
не
you've
было
forgotten
концовки,
about.
это пока что первый
Please,
уровень.
stop trying to make every decision
Я
by
тебе не
yourself.
верю.
I'm not asking for me. I'm
Я прошу это
asking
сделать
for
для
her.
нее. Нет, если там
This
эта
is it,
чувиха,
Stanley.
то все. Я
Your
просто...
chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Вот.
That's her, Stanley. You. Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the
Всё.
phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a
Отключил
choice. How did
телефон.
you do that? You actually chose incorrectly.
Диворс я
I didn't
вообще
even know that was
вырубила, не
possible.
брала я.
Let me
Шнур
double check.
вырубила. Что-то-
No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another.
Вот белые
Music comes in,
титры.
fade to white, roll credits.
Всё, сломалось.
Not picking up the phone
Сломалась
is actually
коммуникация.
somehow an incorrect course of action.
Как
How is that
это
even
произошло?
possible?
Это
None of
было
these decisions were supposed to mean anything.
Ё-моё.
I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley.
Вы
You're a real
Стэнли,
person.
возвращай.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run
Yeah.
around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the
Просто
severity of the
обостряем
situation?
ситуацию.
Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real
Видео
world. Please observe this
инструкция?
helpful
Нифига себе.
instructional video.
Choice.
Муля, не
It's the
уходи.
best part of being a real person.
Кинушка началась.
But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous.
Choice. Хорошо.
For example, In this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Короче, чувак, крест поставили на мужике.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best path to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day.
Менее 8
Do you
выборов
make
в
more
день,
than
делайте
8?
больше 8,
Less?
меньше.
And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should
Я всегда так
subside.
делаю.
At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome
Ё-моё,
back. You may have
почерпнули.
noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Сюда, пожалуйста. Ну. Возвращаемся в офис, а там куча людей сидит. Друзьяшки вернулись.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no
Что за
sense at all.
хрень?
We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets
Да
any
всё, он
worse.
возвращается,
Unfortunately,
походу, сейчас
it
все
seems this
живы,
place
здоровы
is not
там.
well equipped to deal with reality.
Всё классно. Спасибо, лифтер. Ну же, скажите мне, что меня не уволили. И никого не сократили. И все сотрудники живы.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
What the fuck?
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of
Паники,
2
да
open
ладно,
doors,
да я на
he entered the
расслабоне,
door
я
on his
Стэнли
left.
сейчас.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Мне его слушаться или нет? Ребята, мне возвращаться или нет? Скорее, скажите мне. Потому что мужик мне так настоятельно сказал, ну... Слушаться? Я просто взломала 4-ю стену. Сейчас, no. Ничего не сказал. Мне там интереснее было. Я пойду туда. Я бунтарка. Откройте, откройте. Что за нафиг? Мне что, все-таки придется в эту дверь зайти? Откройте двери, я ваш брат. Я человек.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that you... My story! You've destroyed my work! Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? No.
Не знаю, как же поступить. Так, наверное, и закончится эта игра. Выдернуть шнур из сети. Ну все, ребята, землетрясение. 9 баллов по шкале. Я просто за... О, я тут.
I'm still here in this pile of rubbish, with you, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard.
Так старался. Бедолага.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Мне что, засчитали, что я в дверь справа зашла?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Так, это уже было 8 концовок или 9. Кто считал, тот молодец.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
7. Иди по линии.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall. I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not gonna do it, but you know
Sure.
what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I
Если
asked you for this
отказываюсь-
one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way?
Он
Speak.
просто
Say
ставит на
something to
нервы.
me. Explain yourself, you coward.
Это все, это концовка, да? Или что? Стэнли пошел к дверям, он вошел в дверь слева.
Stanley?
Стэнли, аут и
Are
все
you-
в порядке.
Is everything okay? Stanley, please.
Нужно
I need you to
сделать
make a
выбор.
choice.
Тебе
I
нужно
need you
выйти
to
в
walk
дверь.
through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right?
Все, это все концовки. Воу,
The story needs you to make a decision.
You
It
win.
cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step
Я приму
forward,
любой твой
please.
выбор. В общем, наверное, это игра, чтобы
Do something.
прокачать человека, чтобы он делал правильный выбор в жизни. Но какой бы он ни сделал выбор, он все равно сделает его
The story
правильным.
needs it.
Никогда не
So,
сомневаться, что ты сделал неправильный выбор.
are you
Даже если
ready?
ты что-то решил и принял решение, значит, это ты, это твое я. Вот мораль.
You need time to decide.
Флавр.
Make sure your choice is correct. That is the
Флавлес.
best.
На самом деле это не все. Диворс, да ладно.
It's all right.
Что ты? Я сейчас выключу комп, и мне сейчас скажут. Есть еще одна концовка. Ну, понятное дело, что сейчас это как у Кодзимы будет. Заканчивается, 3 часа будет. Просто философия жизни. Ну все или что? Еще что-то бесконечно?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Я
simply
думаю, это
missed a
все.
memo.
Мне просто заманала эта игра. Я думаю, что на этом мы закончим.